Look at what the papers are reporting this morning, and I have with me the Nation newspaper, which is the first paper to review. No new revelation by FBI on Tinubu, says presidency. Nothing to worry over U.S. court order on president. Ogala matter old, settled. Above the masthead, we have House of Reps panel for oversight in Rivers. National assets audit to unlock 65 trillion naira. Fiscal reform steps up. And 700 megawatts boost for national grid, and reconstruction of 777 billion naira Abuja Kaduna Kano road begins. Trump tariff may be a blessing. Interesting development here. Second phase of contactless passport issuance begins, and PDP governors converge on Ibadan. On the bottom strip, Trump envoy conveys stronger U.S. interest at Paris meeting with president. I do not know where to start off with. We have China asks U.S. to end tariff. I think we'll talk about that, in the course of the conversation. Well, we can even start off by talking about, what China is doing. Others are saying that Trump tariff may be a blessing, not just to Nigeria, maybe to Africa and to the world. And then China is also asking U.S. to end tariff. What do you make of the, forth and back, the tariff war between Trump and the rest of the world?
Trump started that thing having only one thing in mind. America should make some more money. Let's go back to being the richest country in the world and all that. And he had been trying to look for here and there on how to get that. And the tariff thing was very attractive to him, But I don't know if he was thinking how the world will react to it. Yes, for Nigeria, if we say it might be a blessing, yes, we're right. Yes, we are right. It might be a blessing. It makes us look inward a little bit more. Nigeria is one country that takes from every other place, and we are not producing as much as we are consuming. So maybe this will make us think a little bit inward. And for China, China is playing the big brother of the world in this particular case, because they have the muscle to do that, and they are doing just the thing I expected.
Veronica, if you look at J.D. Vance, Vice President of America, saying that China is a peasant, peasant farming something, and then one of the business moguls in China was responding. He said, "See, look at China. We have the muscle, just like he said. We are 5,000 years old. US is just 260-something years old, just a small baby beside China. So they can't bully them into submission."
Absolutely. You cannot bully China. They have the population and they manufacture anything they want to manufacture. And even the US, go there for its supplies. They do the manufacturing for the US most of the time. So often at time, when you talk about being peasant and all, it's just an ego thing that this person is speaking from. Now, I was looking at an analysis being made by a businessman. He says, I import from China. I pay my tax or this tariff to the US government, and then when I import the goods, I will have to impose that tax because I'm a businessman. And so the US citizens are still the ones that will bear the brunt. So at the end of the day, most people do not understand the import of this, what Trump is doing, that the US citizens are actually the ones that will bear the brunt at the end of the day.
So Ria, if you look at,
I don't think that you can bully China.
Yeah, so you can't.
Trump as a dictator was trying to do would never work. Because if you see the representative for commerce in China, he made a statement. He said, US should stop the mistake that they made. He called it a mistake. He called it a mistake. And that just shows that word alone, it shows that you cannot bully China. They produce a whole lot. Some of the phones are assembled. How can you? And the thing is that I also feel like Trump moves with emotions. Because right about now, it's even affecting the people of America. And
it's helping the businessmen in America. For instance, they say what Trump is trying to do is just for his own pocket. One of the things that they said is, step one, announce tariff stock market drops. Step two, billionaires buy lots of stock, they buy the dip. And then step three, immediately roll back tariff, which then you have the stock market rebounds. And this is how Trump funnels money to the rich. So it is still for the rich. When you say make America great again, you're still talking about the rich. But China, kudos to you, because a whole lot of things are coming from China, cheap labor, and now the Chinese are now exposing U.S. businesses. For instance, the iPhone, the Louis Vuitton, and so many other products that are being produced cheaply there. They now said, listen, don't even bother to go to these US businesses. Come straight to us. We will sell it cheaply to you.
And it's almost even the original. It almost looks like
when you go to China as a manufacturer or a business person, just go there, tell them the grade you want, and you will get it. That's it. That is that simple.
All right, let's move on to this Nigeria. 2027, Buhari loyalists, opposition intensify plot against Tinubu. Their game plan dead on arrival, says Ganduje, APC national chairman. Presidency zones, campaign billboards. We saw that after the coalition went to visit former President Muhammad Buhari, and then we now saw the APC team too went to former President Muhammad Buhari, and then the chairman, Abdullahi Ganduje, said, particles, they're just like particles that can never come together. We own Buhari.
Who owns who doesn't really matter to me. You know, what matters to me is the kind of politics that we're putting in front. And I think displaying billboards and the rest is too early in the day for that. You know,
you think so?
Yes, I think so. I think
they're already thinking about 2060.
There are so many other things that Mr. President and the APC as a party needs to concentrate on for the betterment of Nigerians. I think that should take the front burner, not not politicking.
That's right. Well, FCTA issues fresh guidelines on statutory right of occupancy titles on mass housing estates, area councils. And then if you look at the ear of the newspaper, tomato farmers predict produce scarcity over tuta absoluta outbreak. Yeah, there is this forth and back over what exactly is this tuta absoluta? I mean, tuta absoluta. They said, okay, it's just like tomato Ebola that affects, tomato and other, but some farmers, experts are saying that it's just a scam.
Well, we are not farmers, right, per se, but those that are in the business are saying, at a particular season, this is what happens. But my issue is this thing keeps recurring every year. What are we doing during that period? Because if we say we collect data and we know that there is a period where we have tuta absoluta, what are we doing to ensure that the shocks that will happen at that period, we cushion it in such a way that people do not feel the impact? That is the issue for me. What do we do with the data we have, with all of this information, so that the farmers can still be at the farm and do the needful when the time comes and all of it? Whatever the politics being played shouldn't be what we focus on, but the issue on the ground, is it happening? Yes. If it is happening, what are we doing? That's the issue. When we focus our attention on politics, we then forget that there is something to be dealt with, and then people begin to suffer.
It's so sad to see that tomato went more than 100,000 naira, earlier in the year, and then it's now crashed down to 35,000 naira, and then it's now going back up because we're having, challenges. You can't make your soup without tomato. Are there some soup you make with just pepper alone?
Of course not. That is like a very pivotal thing in cooking. So if tomato is not there, that's really bad. But also with what Veronica said, I think that when we know that something's about to happen, we need to work on it for it not to happen. So if they know that in this period of time, this is what will happen, I don't think at this point we should be experiencing scarcity of tomatoes.
That's right. That's right. Nigeria News Direct is next. Why Buhari Tinubu bond remains unshaken, a nightmare for opposition, that's according to presidency. Kaduna as new power capital inside Buhari's strategic return to the political arena. Allow Baba to rest now. He said he wants to go back to Daura and tend to his families and cows and all of that. But this proposed bill to regulate bloggers affronts to fundamental human rights. That's according to Serap telling the National Assembly. So we had the social media bill, and now we're having another bill that is being sponsored by the National Assembly. And according to Serap, they said if this comes up, it's just like stifling freedom of expression. But we are torn between freedom of expression, which is inalienable, and then misinformation, fake news, and painting people in bad light.
What would you prefer? A stifled people that cannot talk and sieving between separating fake news from authentic news? Which would you prefer? I think this legislation against the bloggers should not be as important as it is, as they are making it to be right now. Bloggers have what they contribute to the society. Let us allow these people do their stuff. Now, if a blogger goes write something that is blatantly wrong, deal with that particular that particular situation. But to give a blanket law that says you cannot say this, you cannot do this, well, man, it's a democracy.
Toma, let me add to that. Are you aware that some bloggers have written things about people and some people have committed suicide?
That's right. Yes,
Are you aware? Are you aware that some bloggers have put people into depression?
Yes, I know.
Have you ever been to a position whereby something was written about you and it wasn't true? How was the feeling like?
Look, listen, I tell you, put that law in place, enforce it as much as you can. That same scenario will still play out.
Yeah, but then, you know, there is a law.
Because there's no enforcement. And I really love this bill. I think that every blogger should be held accountable for what they put, because some of them are really destroying lives. You see some news on social media and you're like, how did you even think to write this? Do you have children at home? If somebody wrote this about you, would it be true? I have seen people write really, really bad defamatory things about people that have not even done it. So I really do support this bill. I even feel like bloggers should now have a personal location that when you do something, they come and arrest you for what you have done.
What's the judiciary there for? Somebody defames me, I take you to court.
That's if they are most of them are faceless. You can't even find the location.
I also agree with regulating the activities of people. Where there is no regulation, you see people just do things anyhow. Because we've seen certain things being put on the air, and I'm saying on the air, on these blogs, and then you see the impact, not just on the individual, but in the society. You know how people react to things. We've seen in recent times, there were stories flying around that, the INEC chair has been removed and all of that. Meanwhile, that's not the truth. And then there was so much information going on. And you know on those blogs how stories fly. Absolutely. But if you cannot hold people to account, then there's a problem in the society.
Right, let's race on. The Punch newspaper is next. Battle for Rivers. AGF moves to defend Tinubu as PDP governors mobilize 11 senior advocates of Nigeria. And then Fagbemi draft Supreme Court response. PDP berates President Ibas Tumpolo, hints at Fubara's return. Okay, so we'll see what happens. People are now, they are dragging themselves to court over the state of emergency in River State, and we'll see how that pans out. On the ear of the newspaper, right there on the nameplate, I should say, autonomy, 774 local governments challenge federal government, states in court Tuesday. Meaning that, you know, states are still having very strong, stranglehold of the local governments, not wanting the local government chairman to open, CBN account, open an account so that they receive their direct allocation for the betterment of our people in Nigeria.
Well, we're talking about, she just spoke about enforcement, isn't it?
Yeah.
This thing has been declared by the Supreme Court. You know, I would have expected that implementation takes effect immediately and everybody concerned would comply.
Yeah.
But why are they having problems? Who is causing the problems? Is it the governors? Yeah, if the governors are causing the problem, how come the federal government is not telling the governors, hey, there's a judgment on this, let go, let the local governments do their thing, let them be autonomous.
Yeah, let's go.
It's all about implementation.
That's right. Abuja Inquirer is next. IGR, FCT outperforms whole Northwest states, rivals Lagos for 2025, and then eyes 700 billion naira. So we see FCT having, I think as the latest report, IGR is 211, and that of Northwest combined, Kaduna, mention of those Northwest states, they have about 206.
Kudos to him.
206.
Kudos to him.
But that's a wake-up call, you know, when you talk about people not paying their taxes, and then they want development. But, you know, the Northwest is more of agrarian. They're now saying, why don't you compare it with North Central, where the FCT is dominant?
Why are you comparing it with North Central? Whatever it is that is going on in each state, each state should look inward and look at how it can generate resources and funds. That's the major thing. I don't know why we like to compare. We like to, you know, just throw some things out there. If you know you have certain resources that are peculiar to you, how well are you using it in the best interest of that state and the people? And then you can now contribute to the government as a whole now. So we are seeing Nyesom Wike, the minister of the FCT, doing a lot of work. Yes, his approach may not sit down well with a number of persons, but is he showing that he's getting the results from what we are reading? Of course, he's showing the results. So what are states doing to develop their IGR? They have the lands, they have whatever it is at their beck and call. What are you doing with it?
That's right. So, they are saying that they want to target 700, and then they are looking at Lagos. Lagos, we want to catch up with you. Well, Lagos is already looking at they are looking at 2.2 trillion. So it's really, really a far distance. But it's good to look at, okay, who is doing number one.
Of course, it's good to aim high.
Want to catch up with you. Platform Times is next. Yeah, we talked about this. NOA uncovers fraud in federal government student loan scheme, accuses universities, banks of withholding funds. Above the masthead, we have UN Deputy Chief Emir Sanusi, others stormed London for Chibok girls commemoration. I do not know whether you remember the Chibok school girls.
There's nobody who
doesn't.
No, I was specific about whether Ria remembers that.
Oh, definitely.
So yeah, some of them we were able to get them back. Some of them are still in captivity. We have Leah Sharibu and all of that. How does it feel to lose your girl child to the jaws, hands of kidnappers?
It's a very sad one. I can remember I was in Ghana when I was hearing that story, and I was really moved to tears because it could have been anybody's little sister. And it's just so sad that it actually happened. But I feel like we have hope. We are hopeful. At the end of the day, all we can say is that we're hopeful.
Absolutely. Because I remember, just to add to what she has said, I remember that as soon as this happened, my husband had the opportunity to meet with the families. They went for a documentary there. And he talked about how some of the parents had cried their eyes out and some no longer had tears in their eyes. A lot of the parents of these children, of these girls, are dead already.
That's right.
Recall that Leah's mom had even come to our studios then in K2 to talk about this. And so many persons even tried, has been doing all they can. I think it's important that the federal government does not, just leave this matter like that. We still need to do more to bring her back to her parents and every other person who is in captivity.
And there is a challenge of the Stockholm Syndrome, where some of them that had been released, that had been saved from captivity, still, went back because of the attachment they've grown, to these terrorists. But it's so sad.
Yeah.
Bobrisky seems to be back. Returned to Nigeria, demands $200,000 for hookup session. Repugnant, yeah.
Can Bobrisky just stop talking? Is it possible?
But this is good news. Federal government defeats grid collapse with 700 megawatts boost, breaks power supply records. That's according to Minister. That's the good news we want to hear. But we want to see power on our table, not just food. We want to see power. What does it translate on our table?
I think so far the light has been stable.
Yeah, we do well.
For some persons, they tell you, it may be your area.
My area has been stable, actually.
Very good.
Far.
But for some persons,
these are the bandits.
hang on. We saw that in Omuaran there was a protest.
Yeah.
Even that masquerades were leading the protest about the fact that they were migrated from
Masquerade also uses electricity. I thought they
were migrated from Bansi.
They are modern spirits now.
Now, there's that aspect, and there are those who are saying we do not have electricity at all. So I believe that there's more that can be done. Yes, electricity is getting stable, but then more can be done, especially with regards to infrastructure, where we can now see efficiency at the end of the day with deliverables for the people.
Masquerade and not power supply. Celestial spirit.
That was the funniest thing for me.
Blueprint is next. Federal government flags off 777 billion naira Abuja, Kaduna, Zaria, Kano road projects. And presidency dismisses U.S. court ruling. Let's move to the last paper because of our time. This is Sporting Live. Man United get chance to sign Lookman at Atalanta. Set £51 million price tag for Nigerian. Why do you say?
Because I always say it. My son must play football. When I hear this money, so I'm like,
Someone is always listening to money. You do not even get to listen to the name of the players, what they do. When you hear money,
but of course the money.
Nigerians are money.
Money is the issue.
Right, De Laurentiis, Osimhen will never join Juventus, and then Liverpool 2, West Ham 1, late Van Dijk, header helps Reds beat Hammers, and then Newcastle 4, 1, Man United, Magpies subdue Devils to boost CL hopes. Well, because of our time, we just have to, rush on. Do stay with us here on TVC Breakfast. Join us